A lot of people today are absolutely miserable because of the bad influence of the media they consume. People are being manipulated by breadtubers like Vaush and some notable others to throw away their lives for the pursuit of pure, undistilled dopamine, because no cap family, dopamine hits different. It's hard to understate the magnitude of despair these people are suffering under the yoke of Mongol rule in Russia 1242. It has also come to my attention that BreadTube is pushing a help self first ideology, which causes people to develop a severe case of narcissism. Liberal urbanites in the West, from Berlin to New York, are as mad as March hares. These people are lugubrious, but they are also vicious, spiteful snakes, and nearly all of them are liberalo atheists, which is not a coincidence. It's hard to miss it, and trust me, I want to miss it. So come on a journey with me as we uncover this vile and wicked self-help ideology that's convincing our children to do DMT 5 times in 20 minutes. Let's discover the people who are as mad as March hares and the gulag conditions they live in every day. All of this is extremely painful to see, but it's up to you to process this vital information and undergo several stages of cultivated lugubrious, life-changing raw moments, self-actualize into the best person you can possibly be, and pass away with your family surrounding you as you look back on a life you are proud to have lived. We live in a period where this entire topic is very important to understand. So, no matter your creed, color, or affiliation, I implore you to take this wild ride with me as I explain to you how left-wing freaks are crashing their lives with no survivors. The difference between those on the right side of history and those on the left side of history is that the left has always been mentally bazongas. Moral paragons of the right will tell their followers to work out, go to church, have a family, stop having intercourse with hot dogs, be disciplined, be honorable. The moral paragons of the left will say, have a good time, take care of yourself, put yourself first, drink, have intercourse with hot dogs, medicate yourself on that bad stuff, binge Netflix until 2 a.m., do whatever you want. This is what they say to their unsuspecting underage victims, and it makes them sick. Women especially eat this shit up. Maybe that's why over 40% of liberal women under the age of 30 have mental health issues. Yes, that's a factual statement. 2 out of 5 liberal women are nuts and off their rockers. Compare that to cutie tradcap women who only have a bonkers rating of 2 out of 10. I guess that still means 2 out of 10 trad cuties will have the same issues as art hoes, but what does that matter to you? You just want to bang them against the wall and cash them again. Even moderate liberals follow this doctrine of self-annihilation. They say, you need to put yourself first, don't care about anyone else. And they push all this madness under the guise of mental health. This is not healthcare, it's hellcare. This pernicious sickness that has infiltrated all levels of our society does not stop at the regular lay people believing in a gigantic amount of unmitigated bullshit. They push these ideas onto anybody that will listen. You're depressed, you're anxious, mental illness is a real thing, and everyone's mind is fucked up in some way. And you know how you cannot be mentally ill? Do whatever you want. Be a slave to your desires. Put your addictions first. If people aren't enabling you, fuck them. Cut them out. All this is being pumped directly into your cranium by all the media you consume, and especially TikTok. It's one of the most sick things about our society. BreadTube streamers have the inclination to push this ideology really hard because they're the most bazongas and lugubrious out of all the everyone in the where. Factual statement. BreadTubers sit in their rooms for the majority of the everyday and only have contact with other sick people. Factual statement. People whose full-time job is streaming have the tendency to turn into literal nutcases. Factual statement. Honestly, BreadTubers are a gutter trash of our society, not only because they are literally gutter trash, but because they are convincing other people to become gutter trash. Here's a fun fact about everyone who pushes this self-help bullshit. All of them are miserable, and the ones who push it the hardest are the most miserable out of everyone, and are probably nonces. That's right, Vaush likes 13, sussy balls. And don't get me wrong, everyone is miserable in some way because life is fucking bullshit, so I can't blame anyone for feeling some particular ways. And righties will also say put yourself first, but when we say that, what it really means is do your responsibilities, build yourself up sustainably in accordance with the Paris Climate Agreement, and have everything together so other people can rely on you. What the gauchists mean is that the world revolves around you. There is no world other than you. It's narcissism, it's self-centered, you're all that matters, and if you don't like what someone is saying, cut them out. If someone is not enabling you, shut them down. If someone is not agreeing with your actions, it's them, it's not you. You can do no wrong. Your desires should be unmitigated. That's why liberals are the way they are. Unlikable, vicious, mean, miserable. It's because it's this cult of themselves. They are destroying our countries with their bad attitude. Lugubrious liberals lay waste to our land, while radical Republicans really rock. Since all this is very abstract to the hands-on and practical Hyperborean mind, let me give you a little window into the practical application of this philosophy in real life. Have you ever noticed that liberals all cram into cities like little sardine people? Like the cities are some sort of demonic beacon that attracts people who have African-style high time preference. They are stuck in their little one-bedroom apartment that's way too expensive and way too cold in the winter. At least people in the Soviet Union had affordable housing. Today, you can't have an apartment without the landowner raiding your wallet for all your one-ups and Ultimate Gamer Gold Chiaki Nanami vintage figurines. Well, it would be surprising if they own figurines of anything, because liberal urbanites are too poor to own anything, and they are, in fact, not happy. If you look at the scenario, scientific manner of facts of the situation, you don't have to wonder why these people are miserable. Nobody willingly wants to live in a Saddam Hussein apartment. Nobody wants to eat like a starving World War I Austrian soldier. Nobody wants to have food prices comparable to that of blockaded Austria-Hungary in World War I. Nobody wants to live surrounded by a series of ugly, dilapidated glass boxes. Nobody wants to own nothing and be happy. But liberals have deluded themselves into believing that is exactly what they want. Imagine all the negatives of living in a commie block with none of the upsides. That is what liberals want. Well, they would have the ability to live in an apartment if they're a midwit yuppie, but many of these people are unmitigated failures, so they live with their parents. Not like living with your parents is a bad thing, because I would be personally surprised if a young man had the ability to rent, let alone buy a property, from a Chinese warlord millionaire in the year of our Lord 2021. A lot of millennials and zoomers live with their parents. That's no big deal, and it's okay. But these people constantly fight with their parents like they're Palestinian civilians under Israeli occupation. The life of an average Vouch fan can be summed up as a series of live leak videos happening every day, non-stop, but instead of people getting destroyed physically, it's all mental torture. One day they're crying, and the next day they're all catty, and it's all fighting and drama. Everything they say online is like the mass crying Wojak. You understand them much better when you understand that their lives aren't tragedies. It's a try not to come challenge, hard. They're online and they're overly ecstatic saying, LMFAO, fuck fascies. Meanwhile, it's a guy in a dress popping pills and crying in his disgusting one-bedroom Saddam Hussein apartment because someone groomed him on Discord and convinced him he's a troon. Or it's a girl who's totally repulsive and she's getting it from a ton of different guys. She's on antidepressants and birth control and she gets blackout drunk on the floor. She wakes up crying, then she fights with her mom and dad, and after that marathon of despair, she experiences the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Work starts at 2 and she works at McDonald's. And all of them are miserable. Miserable. To them, Netflix isn't a hobby, it's a dedicated lifestyle, where they begin watching at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, binge until 2 a.m. until they involuntarily fall asleep, wake up at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and cry into their pillows wishing they had done something different with their lives. Then they get on Twitter and say, LMFAO, fascies stay mad. Okay, keep popping pills. All these degenerate urbanites are all enabling each other and they're wallowing in their misery. You know what they say, misery loves company. The left is just sad. Behind every gauchist that's having a painfully ecstatic, enlightened anarcho-communist moment on Twitter, you're going to get a little scene kind of exactly like that. A dirty room, a low-wage job, a degree of gendered confusion brought on by trauma, a clusterfuck of a social life. Vouch is the same way. He's a big chungus physically, he has a for a girlfriend, he's lonely, he's miserable. That's how these people live, but what about the effects this has on society? Don't let everything I said fool you.
Yeah, boy.
Yes, progressive types tend to be miserable, depressed wrecks, but that's not the issue. The true issue here is the relentless pursuit of dopamine above everything else. So what I said applies to a lot of people, but especially libertarians. Except that libertarians tend to be eccentric geniuses and far more successful than the average communist pothead. For example, John McAfee was a total degenerate. If I told you the things that McAfee did and was rumored to have done, this video would be age-gated. But, needless to say, libtards don't have that kind of dragon energy that McAfee did. And again, don't get me wrong, living a lifestyle like McAfee's will lead to misery eventually. But I would be remiss if I didn't say the stuff that McAfee did was fucking cool and epic. But other libertarians are just lame. Wow, Razorfist is a literal coup addict and his girlfriend dumped him because of that? Color me shocked. Styx Hexenhammer is a literal pagan who does drugs. Who could have known? They both wear long coats, have long horse faces, and wear glasses. Bros, I might be onto something. The ideology of live and let live dude isn't working. I can tell you that because everyone who lived in the live and let live society hates their lives. Compare the Western healthcare mentality to the Sigma male mentality of countries like China and Russia. If we went to total war, World War I style, against China and Russia, we would basically get our collective asses kicked. But Wilhelm apologist, I hear you say. We can just strat bomb Russia into the second circle of hell. Good point. I think every single war America has been in for the last, 70 years has proven that intense bombing campaigns don't work. Something needs to be done about the pothead way of thinking, but I sure as hell won't do anything. And if something isn't done soon, you may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. What we reactionary monarchists do when somebody comes up to us and says, "I'm sad," is we give them a kick in the ass and say, get off the pills, find a job, get on the Sigma male grind set, and you will reach a level of contentedness. Maybe not happiness, that your life will be bearable. Your expectations of what life should be will be compatible with what life actually is. That will bring you a good level of relief because life is hard and there are struggles. Before I sign off, there's just some more things I want to touch on, non-sensually. First of all, Discord is swarming with these types of people. People who use Discord have the tendency to be, quote, a lot crazy. I mean, if you join any Discord server, it's literally a plague of these freaks. That's why you shouldn't use Discord, except for the fact that you're basically required to have Discord if you want to be a gamer in the year of our Lord 2021. Aside from that, I would recommend you stay as far away from Discord as possible. Use something like Skype or snail mail, or even send electronic messages through Mother Nature by touching grass. Probably also good to mention Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are also bad influences, but I don't use those sites, so what do I know? Secondly, some of you watching this can probably tell this video is heavily based on a rant that Nick Fuentes did a while ago. MAGA bitch! You can think of this video like the continuity between the Russian Empire and USSR. Big differences, but essentially the same thing. Thirdly, I know what I'm saying is controversial, but let me just say this. If you disagree with me, I bet you fuck hot dogs. Fourthly, when Kaiser Wilhelm, may peace be upon him, said the British were, quote, mad as March hares, he wasn't wrong. When Italy won the Euro Cup, the British became even more crazy than any liberalist in existence. Kaiser Wilhelm was right because he was a king, and kings have divine wisdom beyond our comprehension. So, the solution to people being miserable in our society is monarchy. Fifthly, thanks for watching, dear viewer. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, share it with somebody else.